I'm Felicia Tate, executive coach, HR exec, wife, mom, and founder of Tate 5 Consultant Agency. For over 20 years, I've helped leaders and organizations shape culture and transformation. But let's be clear, this isn't just another leadership podcast. Heart to Heart is where we get real. We talk about the messy, the avoided, and the necessary. The conversations that stretch us, shift us, and shape us. Here, life, leadership, and growth collide. If there is one thing I've learned, the hardest conversations are often the ones that change everything. Until next time, keep learning, keep showing up fully you. Hey y'all, welcome to episode 6, The Pause That Saved Me. In this episode, I really want to help us to combat the idea, this hustle culture, right? Booked and busy. I've moved from that place of booked and busy in my own life and really started embracing purpose over the booked and busy. If it's not aligned with purpose, if it's not purposeful, I can't do it. I'm not available. I think a part of learning how to introduce the pause has been so powerful for me because it's allowed me to truly be present with what is my purpose, what am I doing it for, and who am I doing it with. That's in every area of my life. And so today I want to talk about some key points really around the power of the pause, how it can truly help you embrace your purpose, but also more importantly, looking at it from a perspective that pause is not about a punishment. There is no punishment in pausing. It's truly about a prescription to be a better version of you. We're so used to going and bustling and moving forward that we don't think about, is this really aligned to my purpose? I know we've heard it before. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't. Resetting is really the strategy. It's not about a setback. I think about in my life where I've been laid off. I've had to, make a decision to step away from one organization to another. And each and every time I've had to take a pause and redefine success or pivot in the direction of my purpose, it has saved me each and every time. I think about the time when I was laid off. I was 5 years into my big girl job and, it was a reorganization. I didn't expect it, but I also understood it was outside of my control. So I accepted that and I had to say, okay, do I still want to be in HR or do I really want to pursue my career in education? At that point in time, I said, you know what? I'm going to trust the path that God has for me. And so I accepted the pivot in my career, if you will call it. It was a pause, but it saved me to understand that just because the organization is restructuring, that doesn't define me and who I am. It gave me a moment to pause and really reflect. Am I moving on the right career path that I had initially set out? And so I had to decide between, do I want to keep going down the path of HR or do I want to go back to what my first love, and that was education. That's what I went to school for. Where at that time I decided, well, I'm going to go back to school so that I can finish my undergraduate degree. And so that's what I did. Lo and behold, I was off, 3 months? I got a call back. The company that was restructuring, they asked me to come back. I came back. I was able to negotiate a higher rate from when I left. And I came back to help them really to lead the teams based on the reorganization. So having that moment to say, you know what, it's time for me to step back, that pause helped me. Had I not would have done that, I probably would have kept grinding myself in the ground, pushing myself forward, without having a moment to really reflect what was important to me. And I finished my degree. So although I didn't pursue the path of education, it allowed for me to take some time to really self-reflect and decide, is this still the path that I want, or do I want to do something different? The next pause, that saved me was having the ability to really reevaluate personally. I've gone through being a divorcee, being a single mom. Being a single mom, that's not something I would say, I wanted. However, it was the pause in my early 20s that did save me. It shifted me in such a way that it made me reprioritize my life meaning and purpose. Being a mother, it's not for the faint of heart. Being a parent, it's not. But I can only speak from the experience of being a mother. This was a pause that absolutely saved me, because I had to not only think about myself, I had to think about my son, who I was responsible for. So a lot of my decision making at the time had to pivot from being a 21-year-old college student, 20-year-old college student, to now being a 21-year-old mother, and who I was responsible for the life of a little one. And I knew enough to know that although, my plans wasn't to be a mom at that age and to be, not having enough to take care of him, but it was the pause that allowed me to shift forward in such a way that I could reposition myself to reset my priorities and my goals. I won't even act like, it was challenging. I mean, it was not challenging, because it was. My 20s were hard in a way that I'm grateful now that I can reflect back. But when I was going through it, I won't act like, I didn't have days where I said, God, why me? I had to accept the responsibility of being a mom. And so I would ask you, where in your life did a pause help save your life? What would change if you honor the rest or the pause as a part of your leadership rhythm? It looks different for everyone. What I can tell you is, in my own life, the things that I was struggling with, or, looked at like, man, why me, God, are the very things that God took and propelled me forward in purpose. And so I would want to give you a permission slip to pause and reflect and look back over your life. What were the pauses that saved you, that maybe didn't look like it was a pause or a reset? It may have been the very thing that you were like, God, why me? I just want to encourage you to sit in the uncomfortability, the struggle, or whatever that thing may have been, and really look at, did I reset? Did I re-engage with myself on a different level? And begin to think about that reset as an opportunity, as really a reset for you to move along in purpose with intention. Again, I'm not here to prescribe to you that, being mindful or being intentional is easy. But what I can tell you in my own journey, that it's been worth it. Having a moment to really realign and look at life from a space of why me, and then this is happening for my good, has really allowed me to truly lean in more, to be more transparent, to be vulnerable, to be present, and really to build relationships and connect, not just in my personal leadership impact, but also professionally. Oftentimes, as leaders, we never know who's listening or who's watching us. We take for granted sometimes that our titles are the very thing, that cause us to be powerful. But I will tell you this: because you never know who's watching you, you never know who you are influencing, I challenge you to truly sit with the fact that whatever pause that may have come into your life and that may have reset you in a way to experience your power in a different way, embrace that more. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't shrink. Don't feel like it's too much, or don't feel like you're not enough. Lean into the fact that whatever has happened thus far in your life is for a purpose. You may not understand it all. All the answers may not be here, but trust everything that's happening is for your good, and that the very pause or the very thing that may have caused you to reset, it's not a punishment. It's really a setup for preparation and for your purpose. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup, so refuel yourself as much as you need to. When you need to reset, take a moment, do it. Resetting is truly a strategy. It's not about being soft. It's not about being broken. And it's not a setback. It's a setup for you to relaunch and to move forward in an intentional way. And then lastly, I really want you to think about, man, what could I really do, or what could I really change if I would allow this moment to redefine me and not break me? If I honor this moment, this point in time of where I'm at in my leadership rhythm. So until the next time, be kind to yourself, lead with intention. Don't run from hard conversations, run to them. This has been Heart to Heart with Felicia Tate, where leadership meets life, raw, real, and unapologetically human. Don't just listen. Take what you've learned and lead with it. See you in the next episode.